Yerevan is doing great, and I also attended the previous talk. So after that one, hopefully this one is going to be more about, specifically about no-code. And for those who are interested in the topic, I hope this is going to be interesting. And if you don't know, I hope this is going to be very informative. So are we ready to dive in? Okay. Yeah, okay, I didn't see this one, so maybe I'll start from here. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about no-code. How many of you know what no-code is? Can you raise your hand? I can see some people who are working in software, some people who know software because they know me. Okay, amazing. So not that many people knowing, which is then a great chance for you, I guess, to learn what no-code is about. So a little bit about me to start with. So I'm Mariam, as I was introduced, a software engineer turned into entrepreneur, mom of 2 girls. I have started my career back in Armenia, working in different companies as software engineer. In B2, some of you might remember it, it already doesn't exist, Workfront. And then I moved to Germany and worked in startups and organizations, bigger organizations, and then have been leading product and engineering teams. So then my journey brought me to founding Software. I'm also a co-founder and CEO of Software. I love building delightful product and design experiences, and our mission with Software is to democratize engineering genius. And let's see what that is. So what Software is, for those, I know also there is lots of people in this conference, very active users of Software, and for those who don't know what Software is, it's the world's easiest no-cost platform to build custom apps powered by your data, Airtable, Google Sheets, or any other data that you might have, writing without code. So why are we building software? Let me kind of give you a context of why are we on this journey and why it makes sense. Why is the next generation no-code? So let's start by looking at the history. Let's look at printing press. So printing press was really an old, in the old times, like several tens of years ago, was only accessible to a handful of big corporations and governments, those who had access to these machines, and only them could produce books or whatever that would be. So then it was democratized. So the printing machine was invented, and everyone could literally write books. And today, literally, everyone can publish a tweet, post, and it gets access to by millions of people in the entire world. So what basically happened, the access and got democratized to that specific medium, which in this case was creating books, and then many more people started using and creating books. So if you look at even the number of books published per year, the number just skyrocketed over the last tens of years. So let's look at something like recording of music. So to record music previously, you needed to have access to big studios, have connections, the right connections. And now you literally just need your laptop and the right software to write, whether it's music, podcast, or content, whatever you like, and publish it to all of the content platforms that are available at the moment. And then the numbers speak for themselves. So the numbers skyrocketed. The number of people that created music, recorded music, just skyrocketed over the last tens of years. So now let's look at something like making movies. Again, making movies was really expensive, something very difficult. You needed a big team, movie studios, and that was $1 million operations, obviously. And now, literally, millions of people are creating content on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, everywhere. There's lots of indie makers, indie studios that are building their own films. And as you can guess already, the numbers skyrocketed, the number of people who are creating movies and content. So what does this tell us? The answer is simple. When the access to a medium gets democratized, we remove the barriers, then all of the ideas that existed in people's mind, we basically unleash them, and people are able to turn those ideas into something tangible, something that brings value to the world. And it's not that only the ideas that were in people's head that can be executed and will turn into something real, but it's actually also millions of more new ideas are being born if you have access to a medium. So think of Legos. When you give Legos to your kids, the kids, it's not like kids know or they had a vision what they're gonna create, right? But they get access to it, they discover Legos, and they create amazing things, all with their imagination. So you would ask, what does this have to do with no-code at the end? So to answer that question, let's look at how software development has evolved. Software development meaning how people have been creating software. So software building, the abstraction, the layer of abstraction is a fundamental in the computer science. So every other kind of year, tens of years, there has been new and new abstractions happening in the software engineering world. So in the beginning, there was low-level application logic, and then which basically abstracted machine-level language. Frameworks and libraries abstracted some common patterns and commonalities. Then applications abstract entire business domains. And entire business domains can be, let's say, payment systems or authentication systems. And those are now built by entire companies, can be building just one or two business domains on their own. And there is hundreds of developers that are just building this one business domain, and the other developers of other companies basically are just reusing. They don't have to create everything from scratch. They don't have to build and learn how to build all of these business domains. But instead, they can use APIs and build everything else on top of that. And they instead will focus on something that's really important for their business, that is really critical and brings value to their business instead of something that's repeatable. So a very good example of that trend is the following. So tens of years ago, every company had to create their own servers to run and maintain code. They had to learn how to create server code. However, AWS abstracted all of that away, and now that problem is not every company's engineer's problem anymore. Now they can just, with a click of a button, virtually create all of the servers. So now basically what that enables is all of these developers, they don't have to learn server-side code, they don't have to maintain it. Again, they can just focus on their business problems. So in the end, when we look at no-code, it's not different. It's just another layer of abstraction in this abstraction layer cake, and that just abstracts away even more so all of the complexities. So basically, as you can see, no-code is still powered by tons of code. It still produces a lot of code on its own. However, all of the no-code builders, they don't have to care about all of the complexities that lie in engineering building. So what they basically would be doing, instead of writing code, they can simply just visually create all of the applications by bringing different pieces together, and we'll get to that. So in fact, instead of telling the computer using syntax and text to create all of the software, which is the typical writing code way, you can now use, with no-code platforms, you use visual elements, buttons, and building blocks to build your entire application. So again, back to the Lego analogy, all of the modern no-code tools that we have today, they offer pre-built, pre-made components that are basically just abstracting away even more so the complexities of engineering. So think of it as authentication, payments, or Kanban, calendar boards, lists of different types. All of those are things that the platforms offer for the end user to simply just assemble them together, and with a fraction of the time and the cost that typical software engineering or writing code would be. And also, the beauty is that with all of these building blocks, like with Lego, you can assemble and mix and match all of the different building blocks and get complete custom applications as a result. So no-code really is the new way of programming. And also, it's really the new medium to create software. So we at Software believe that everyone should be able to build. Looking back at some of the other examples, as we saw, when there is the access is enabled to, or made broader to a specific type of medium, whether it's recording video or recording music or creating movies, then millions more people can do the same, can create things. In this case as well, we believe there is a better way to build software. And there is also, that's what we are building at Software, and our mission is really to empower anyone to create software. So, if you look at the world that we are living in, the entire world is running on code. Everything you're using today, refrigerator, the elevator, TV, even the food that you're eating is is possibly grown in computerized greenhouses, or the car you are driving has hundreds of millions of lines of code in it. So, and also, if you look at the workforce, all of the software and hardware you're using today is powered by code. How many of you know how many developers are in the entire world? How many? Millions. Okay, millions, yes, but how many millions? That's too optimistic. So let's say if this room was 400 people, relative to the world, I know there is probably more techies in this room, or maybe more developers than in a typical scenario. But let's say relative to the world, out of 400 people, there is only one person that knows how to code. And that's overall 0.3% of the entire population. It's not 3%, it's 0.3%. What that means is the software engineering is only accessible to a few. So now think of it this way. There is not enough engineering talent. The entire world is running on code. We're moving at a faster pace in technology. Everything around us is built with technology. However, there is only 0.3% of the world writing code. So now, in comparison, think if out of 400 people, if only one person knew how to write and read, what would happen to us, right? And when we look also in the corporations, in the organizations, there's 27 million developers, so it's much less than 100 million. It's 20 million developers overall in the entire world. And of course, there is more than 1 billion users that are working in the organization, that are working on different problems. And all of these people could be potentially building applications or solving problems with their own hands, not having to rely on developers. So when we look back then, no-code is really not a choice. It's not a choice. It's just a necessity. Because of the talent scarcity, because of the world running around us, everything being tech-powered, and because there has to be a better way for more people to build software. And that's what we want to build with software. That's what we want to do. That's what no-code basically enables everyone to do. So let me now jump back a bit, back to how do we enable that with software? How do we solve that problem with software? 3 main pillars. First, by building the best product. What best means is, again, as we saw in the previous industries, it has to make creating whatever that is accessible to a broader range of people. So in this case, it's creating software. So creating software is fundamentally quite difficult and challenging, and you have to learn tons of things to do to be able to do that. So with our platform, we want to make the platform, in the very beginning, the very first thing, extremely easy to use, very simple, so that anyone without being a designer, without being a developer, can produce applications. It also has to be great looking. Today, in this modern world, good enough, working, functioning application is not enough. It has to be also very modern and good looking. So that's what we want software to enable everyone to do. All of the apps built by software have to be also great out of the box. The other part is, sorry, the slides are a bit mixed up, but it's flexible, but with smart guardrails. So again, we have seen with countless examples from previous companies or previous no-code tools that people either don't want to start from scratch, a canvas, they don't want to have their entire power because it's difficult for them to build everything from scratch, or they don't want templatized solution. So instead, they want to have a flexible solution that is really also can be customized to their needs. But at the same time, with more flexibility comes with more difficulty to build the app. So what we are trying to do with software is really finding the right balance between enough customization, so your app is completely custom, and then also smart guardrails, so that everything you build is still very easy to build, given the flexibility as well. And then horizontal, so everything as well that we are building has to be horizontal. If you just focus on one use case, let's say websites or communities or marketplaces, then we don't enable everyone to build software, right? So The platform has to be horizontal, and the way we achieve that is by offering building blocks. Again, similar to the Lego concept, actually lots of people have described software as the Lego bricks, Lego of the web, meaning all of the building blocks we offer are just simply building blocks for you, and you can assemble them in any way and shape possible. So that's also the reason we very often get compared with Canva. How many of you know Canva? I'm sure Benny. Yes. So Canva is a tool to create designs. Extremely easy, simple, and it has, I think now, like hundreds of millions of users by now. So the reason of this comparison is what Canva did to Photoshop is basically Photoshop was only accessible to a few. Most people cannot use Photoshop. However, Canva made it accessible to anyone really create stunning, very nice, modern-looking designs right out of the box. So that's how we get compared to Canva. Also, another comparison I like to bring is professional photo camera and iPhone. So I'm sure not many of you have professional cameras, but many of you, most of you, probably all of you, even kids, can use can use iPhone to create modern, very good-looking and high-quality images. So second pillar, best customer support, and I'll go a bit quickly because I think I only have 5 minutes left, and best execution. Again, you can have perfect product, perfect customer support to help customers go through their journey. However, if you can't market it, if you can't bring it to customers, then it's not going to go anywhere. So really also with horizontal platforms, one of the biggest challenges as well is really break it down for customers to understand, I have a problem, how do I fix that problem with this tool which can do anything for anyone. Okay, I'll go up quickly. Yeah, also one thing to notice here. Also, that's one of the big things that all of this kind of execution and our huge passionate community enabled us to win #1 product of the year in 2021, last year, basically. So I'll go quickly to the end. We have some interesting case studies. If we have time left or someone is interested, I'll give, so I'll share that afterwards. But no-code is really at its inflection point. So as we saw with all of the curves in the previous history for all of the other industries, we are really at the beginning of this curve, and it's just starting because more and more companies are now starting to realize the value of no-code and just seeing it day to day in their companies. So once we remove the code barrier with the easier tools, with more modern tools, then we would empower 1,000 more builders. And in 2011, Mark Anderson very famously said, software is eating the world. In 2023, I confidently can say that no-code is really eating the world. And no-code really will become a new Excel skill in CVs. It's already becoming, also for software. If you search in LinkedIn for software, you will see hundreds of people coming out. They're not software employees. They're not in any way affiliated to us. They are just people who listed software as a skill in their CVs because that's becoming more and more needed skills, and people want to advertise that. So everyone is a builder now. No more excuses, and we are here with software to make that possible. Thank you. Any questions? If not, then I see some hands. No. Okay. That's it, I guess. Thank you. And if you want to learn more about software, feel free to reach out to me, or we have also some of our folks from software here. Sure, go ahead.
Which no-code company is your competitor the most, that you think? Yeah.
Yeah, for people who are outside this, the ecosystem, it seems that every day on product that there's a new no-code tool launching, which might be the case. But again, the no-code ecosystem as well, there is tons of different types of tools, different categories. Some are for website builders, some for mobile, some for just automations. We are more within the web application development space, and there are some direct competitors called Glide, Stacker, NoLoco. You can check out some of them. But again, software is better because I mean, you're a user software, you know, you have used the other tools as well. And the reason being that our focus is completely on ease of use versus also flexibility. So the right balance between really enabling the millions of populations that we have on the world build applications. And for some of the other platforms, there's just different focuses, different types of building experience, etc.
Thank you for the answer. Actually, I have used a lot of no-code tools, and yet software is the best one because it is the most intuitive one. If you have no abilities, you know nothing about tech, you can definitely build something on software.
Yeah, maybe as a thank you so much. And as example, we have 60-year-old university professor using software, built something really powerful, and she comes to us, she's like, I can't do this small thing. I'm like, you build this entire application. And we also have school kids building their own startup idea. So the range is extremely big, and that shows that, yes, it's like many more people can access that without any engineering technical skills.
Thanks for your work.
Thank you.